The good news, though, God says, is that paradise is coming. And the good news is that God has long promised that the earth is going to return. Do you remember this promise in Isaiah 11? That the earth was going to have paradise-like conditions? That's the one that says the lion and the lamb and the wolf and the child will sit together. There's no carnivorous animals. There'll be no toxic, poisonous things. Everything will grow. It'll be like we're all on some beautiful paradise island. So what does Revelation 20 mean? Let me read you what it says. I saw an angel coming down from heaven having a key to the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. He laid hold of the dragon, that serpent of old, the devil and Satan, and bound him for 1,000 years. Millennium. That's the Latin for 1,000 years. That's where millennium comes from. It's not in the Bible. It's Latin. When this was translated, that's where they got the term millennium. But it's that word in verse 2. And he cast him into the bottomless pit. We'll talk about that in a minute. Where is that? And shut him up and put a seal on him that he should deceive the nations no more. That's Satan's ministry. He deceives. That's why the white horse of deception, the promise of Jesus in Matthew 24, that the first thing that would launch into this world, in Matthew, Jesus said it's deception. And it's illustrated in Revelation chapter 6 by a white horse. And this deception comes, and so the deceiver is not allowed to deceive anymore until the 1,000 years. It's the second time that word shows up, millennium, is finished. But after these things, he'll be released for a little while. And then I saw thrones and those that sat on them, and judgment was committed to them. I saw the souls of those beheaded for their witness to Jesus. Those are the ones that the Antichrist gets in his killing machine. And for the word of God, who had not worshipped the beast or his image, had not received his mark on their foreheads or their hands, and they lived and reigned with Christ for 1,000 years. But the rest of the dead did not live again till the 1,000 years. That's the fourth time millennium in Latin occurs, 1,000 years. This is the first resurrection. Verse 6, blessed and holy is he who has part in the first resurrection. Over such the second death has no power. But they shall be priests of God and of Christ, and shall reign with him 1,000 years. There's the fifth time. And the sixth time is in verse 7, when the 1,000 years have expired. This time period is talked about in 40 chapters of the Bible in the Old Testament. What those 40 chapters say is everyone's health, longevity of life, they'll be surrounded by balmy weather, the absence of danger, abundant food, clean air, clean water, flourishing garden-like plants. Remember I told you yesterday that in the Antarctica, they found fern leaves as big as that wall? That's unbelievable. In the coal pressed, I mean, these are plants that got squashed in the flood and made into coal. That's going to come back. I mean, you're going to have unbelievable growth during the millennium. Beautiful and docile animals. I mean, one of you was fishing. You showed me the movie out there in the lake that's out behind where we're staying, and hooked an alligator and reeled him into the boat, and he bit the boat. They won't do that then. You won't have to fish them, and they won't attack your boat. They're going to be docile animals. There'll be global peace. There won't be any of this fighting and murders and everything, and everybody will have enough. So 40 chapters. You say, really, where are they? Well, look where they are. Promised to David in 2 Samuel 7 and 23. Psalm 89 is all about it. Predicted in the Psalms. Psalm 2 talks about Jesus ruling with a rod of iron. Psalm 45 talks about him being king of the earth, 110. Isaiah 2, 4, 11, 12, 30. See, all the way through chapter 66, Isaiah is a mega load of millennial promises. Jeremiah, Ezekiel, we're going to talk about this one in Ezekiel 40. Mary has promised that Jesus is going to sit on the throne of his father David. Micah says that Jesus, the Messiah, is coming. That great Christmas verse, the government shall be upon his shoulders, Isaiah 9. That's about the millennium, on. And that's what the Lord's Prayer is about, thy kingdom come, and his rule is all described. Basically, all those passages say creation is changed during the millennium. Physically changed, the curse is lifted. It's not removed, it's just lifted. In other words, everybody won't have to work as hard and weeds won't be constantly bothering us. Creation is redeemed. Sin is not gone, but the earth is full of the Lord. Yet, it's not heaven, because people will still die, and sin is still around, but it's limited. Each person has their own land, Micah tells us, and everything is fruitful, Amos says, during this time. So that's the millennium.